A few weeks ago, I made a video talking about why I decided to invest in GameStop in 2020. And since that video, there have been a lot of other larger YouTubers continuing to bag on how bad GameStop is, and how they're facing bankruptcy, and how all these challenges are incredibly difficult to overcome. As they say on Wall Street, giving the bear case scenario, worst case scenario, truly, for what GameStop is facing. But with the recent news of Reggie Fils-Aimé joining the board of directors, in addition to a ton of other catalysts they have going for them, I'd say it's about time to double down on GameStop. Reggie Fils-Aimé has joined GameStop. Well, at least the board of directors in late April 2020. Reggie Fils-Aimé will be a part of the GameStop company. And that's a sentence I never even thought that would come out of my mouth. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. Reggie Fils-Aimé completely revolutionized Nintendo as a corporation in America. I mean, hell, if you want to go even further back, he revolutionized Pizza Hut, VH1, and the guy, I mean, whatever he seems to touch turns to gold. Like, he has a history, specifically in marketing mostly, of being able to change a reputation, adjust the mindset of customers. And if there's one thing that GameStop needed, it is a serious revolution of the mind. Because right now, I don't want to say they're on the verge of bankruptcy, but like I said in the opening, they've seen better days. And what they're facing right now is a gigantic mountain to climb, one that many companies falter on right at the beginning. There are a bunch of catalysts, the upcoming console releases towards the end of 2020, assuming there isn't any sort of, we'll say, issues overseas in creating a product. But assuming those come to fruition at the end of 2020, that is a gigantic catalyst for what remains to be a physical video game store needing physical items to sell. And that is going to bring some major foot traffic into the doors. In addition to that catalyst, they also are considering renovating their stores. Like I said in my previous GameStop video, there are a lot of different potential directions they could go to increase foot traffic. I guess my point is, there are a lot of avenues, a lot of roads they could go down to change their perception. I got a tweet yesterday, I don't remember off the top of my head, I will look it up and post it on the screen right now, from someone who came up with a brilliant idea just randomly. And initially when I read it, I was just like, GameStop Direct, haha, like what do they even mean by that? And then I was like, wait a second, GameStop Direct, that's something I never even thought of as a way to completely shift the dynamic of the consumer's mindset. If you can build a brand like Reggie did with Nintendo and garner an audience of people lining up to see basically what Steve Jobs did at Apple, getting people excited for products, getting people excited for what you have to talk about. If you can drum up interest, you got yourself a winner. And that's something that I feel like Reggie has been able to do. I mean, he's one of the hardest workers in the industry. If you watch some of the documentaries on him, he's a fascinating character. He was one of the people that would get into work before anybody else and leave after everybody else every single day, and kind of expect that mindset out of all of his employees. And while he's not like going to be the CEO of GameStop, like he was in charge of Nintendo North America, he is on the board of directors, and he's going to be a brain for them to pick. He's going to be able to give them his thoughts on what they should do and adjust course as need be to put GameStop in the best position possible for success going forward. And that should excite a lot of people that are pulling for GameStop. And honestly, it should excite people that aren't pulling for GameStop too. And let me explain why. There's a lot of people that can't stand GameStop for one reason alone, and that is their business practices. Their reputation precedes them when it comes to taking advantage of customers with buying back old games and barely giving any money for them. That's something that I firmly believe they're going to be working hard on changing their reputation on. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm not on the board of directors to worry about that. It's a large undertaking, but I think the environment is set for a comeback. People say a brick and mortar are going the way of the dodo. They've been saying that for since the .com boom in 2000. Best Buy had the same problem when it started diving on the stock, and then people realized that there is a use for brick and mortar. I mean, people still go shopping. People still go out to buy things. And to be honest, people like the interaction, the human connection, the face-to-face talking about video games, people that have a knowledge in the industry. And to be honest, when I go to places like Walmart or Target or even Best Buy, most of the time the employees don't know a damn thing about video games. You go to GameStop, I mean, there's a chance the employee might not know very much, but more often than not, they're going to have a good head on their shoulders when it comes to what's interesting and what's not, and have their own perspective and opinions. And while they might differ from yours, at least you can have a conversation with them about it. And that right there is something special that I think GameStop needs to hone in on, that they need to focus the dynamic on the conversation, the local town game store. And if GameStop disappears, that's a sad day for all gamers. Something that people need to realize how important these game shops really are. The availability, the proximity, the reliability. I mean, are they perfect? No. Is any store perfect? No. But more options to me is always better. And I feel like, getting back to the main point of this with Reggie Fils-Aimé coming in, it's going to completely shift the marketing dynamic and the mindset of the customer once they start implementing some of these changes. Come, I believe, off the top of my head, April 20th of 2020 is when Fils-Aimé actually joins the board officially for GameStop. It's literally just adding him to the mix, and the idea of shifting the dynamic that has a lot of people excited. Whether you're an investor or not, if you're a gamer, this should be exciting. I mean, for me, I was a huge Nintendo fan. I mean, I still am. And Reggie starting with those Nintendo Directs, it put Nintendo on a pillar that couldn't be touched, in my opinion, when it came to connecting with gamers. It brought people closer to the company. It made people feel a connection. And I feel like that's what's missing with GameStop. Is there a magic pill they can take to fix everything? No, but I think if they work on the realistic changes they can make, there is a potential gigantic future for this company. And while I would advise everybody who is interested in investing that nothing's guaranteed, full disclosure, like, you put money into it, it could disappear today. Like, there's no promises when it comes to investing. As I said in my other video, I invested in THQ and took a bath in it. It was not a pretty sight. But I also invested in AMD when it was at $1.71. And a couple weeks ago, it hit a high of 60. So there is a high payout for these high risk, high reward stocks. And I'm looking at GameStop as one of those, and this is that moment right now. But just know that you've been warned, and invest with caution. Know the risks, know what you're getting yourself into, and know that nothing's guaranteed. I made a joke yesterday on Twitter that if you want a free PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, the next generation of consoles, put $500 in GameStop today, the day after they announced Reggie is on the board, and wait until it doubles, and you just have $500 towards those new consoles. I mean, that was kind of tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, that's the way I'm looking at GameStop right now. Assuming Reggie is able to implement some of the changes similar to what he did with Nintendo. He's been there when things don't go well, and he's been there to turn things around. So I have a lot of faith in Reggie. Is he perfect? No. But is he the savior that GameStop needs right now? Absolutely. And that's what's got me so pumped. I'm going to leave the video right there. Let me know what you guys think. I know there's a lot of people that don't think Reggie is going to do a damn thing for GameStop, and that's perfectly fine. I'd love to hear your reasons as to why. Do you feel like GameStop is too far gone? Do you feel like they're beyond saving right now? Do you feel like Reggie just doesn't have a skill set that matches what GameStop is? I'd just be interested to hear where you stand and why. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.